Hey everyone, Harris O'Malley from TalkToNerdLove.com. Tell me if this has ever happened to you before. You had this really promising connection with someone. Maybe you met at a party, you connected on Hinge or Facebook dating, you were introduced by friends. No matter how you met, things seem to be going great. You're texting back and forth, you're really vibing, you're getting each other, and then you were having this amazing conversation. Everything was leading to the point where you were getting ready to ask them out on a date. Maybe you were starting to get a little flirty. But then suddenly things stopped in their tracks, and the next thing you know, you've been left on read. And this, incidentally, is why read receipts are the goddamn devil. The whole point of texting was to be less anxiety-provoking than talking on the phone, and people managed to invent a new icon of terror. You all spent so much time preoccupied with whether or not you could, you never stopped to ask if you should. Now you're freaking out, you don't know why she's suddenly gone radio silent on you, and clearly the only answer is you up somehow. You said something wrong, you were too annoying, you were too pushy, or you managed to step on a landmine that you had no idea was there, you pissed her off, now she hates you forever and wishes you would die and go to hell, so clearly the only thing left to do is dig yourself a hole, jump in, and pull it in after you. Except that is almost never the case. If someone is interested in you, it takes a lot to mess up so badly that they just don't want to talk to you anymore, especially if you've been following my advice and started making plans for a date, ideally before you got her number. You did have a date planned, right? Now, before you go begging her for forgiveness for whatever heinous fuckery you think you did, or you start blowing up her phone in hopes of getting her to reply, let's talk about the most common reasons why women won't text you back and what you can do about it. Incidentally, while we're focusing on texting for this episode, these principles also apply to messaging people on dating apps. So if your Tinder conversations are drying up before you can move things forward and you don't know why, check and see if you're having one of these issues. The first and most likely reason why she's not responding to your texts is very simple. She's busy. If you can calm your jerk brain down for just half a second and think about things rationally, the most reasonable assumption is simply that she's got a lot going on at the moment and she just hasn't got the time to text you back right now. She got your text, she read it, and she's decided, hey, she'll get back to you later. And you know, it's entirely possible that she meant to get back to you, but she got distracted. Maybe she started typing something and thought she had to send. Maybe she was gonna get back to you, but she's read the text, the notification isn't on her phone anymore. And if other texts came in, you may have just gotten lost in the shuffle. No one's fault. It happens. Another common variation of this is that some folks only text at certain times of the day. Maybe she does most of her texting in the morning when she's having her coffee, or maybe in the evening after she's gotten home from work. If she's at work, she may be in a position where she just can't text back. This is especially common if you're using apps like Facebook Messenger, Kik, whatever. She may not be able to have the app open at work or be seen using her non-work phone. If this is the case, then blowing up her phone trying to get her attention is not going to help. Not only can she not reply just then, but all those incoming text noises and notifications are really just going to annoy her, especially if she's trying to concentrate on work. So, in this case, you want to give her time to get back to you. And by time, I don't mean 30 minutes to a couple of hours. I mean, give her a day, maybe 2. If you haven't heard back from her within 48 hours, then you send one text. And no, not a question mark, not a, hey, you there, or some other indicator that you're getting anxious waiting for her to get back to you. Advertising that you're trying to get her attention like that is not a great look on anyone. What you want to do is start an entirely new conversation thread as if she hadn't left you on read for 2 days. A simple, hey, saw this cute thing, thought of you, attach an adorable GIF. That's all it takes to get that ball rolling again. Incidentally, some folks are just plain bad at texting. She may just be flaky about responding to texts, and you'd be better off talking to her on the phone instead. Reason number 2, you didn't give her anything to reply to. This is the second most common reason why women won't text you back. Things were going great, except you ended up closing the conversational loop, and now there's nowhere to go with that topic, and you're left with a text equivalent of, so. To give you an example of what this looks like in practice, this is a conversation I was having with a friend of mine about drinks and cocktail recipes. We go back and forth a couple of times, then the conversation just trails off because, well, what else was there to say? Now, do you notice what's missing? It's a question mark. In fact, if you check most of the times when your conversations have died, it is almost always because you haven't asked a question, and you probably haven't asked one in a while. When you've known someone for a while, it's easier to keep the conversation going without needing to ask a question every time. You know each other's patterns pretty well, you can read each other, you know when someone's done talking and when they expect a response. Case in point, I've known this person for years, so it's easy enough for us just to pick things up again later. But if this were someone new that I was trying to date, then I would need to open a new and different loop. And the best way to do that is almost always to ask a question. Something related to what we were talking about is the easiest and most obvious way to keep things going. Hey, have you ever tried this thing? But it's just as easy to switch gears and have another topic that you can jump to. But if you do, then there needs to be a question attached to it. Otherwise, there's no real reason for her to respond. Just giving a statement puts more of the onus on her to try to carry that conversational weight. And don't stress yourself out too much about trying to make this related to the topic you were just talking about. You can bridge the gap to a completely new topic with a verbal segue like, oh, hey, that reminds me. Then you ask a new question, you get the next conversational thread going. Just make sure that you're asking the right question. You want to ask a question that can't be answered with a binary yes or no, or with a one-word reply, or just an emoji. If you can't think of anything else, then focus on getting to know them, ask them questions about themselves. Hell, look up questions for couples for some really good getting to know you questions that go beyond the usual interview of where did you grow up, what do you do for a living. You can even play little games, maybe a little gift tennis back and forth. You just want to make sure that you've given them something that they can respond to without too much effort. Reason number 3 why women won't text you back is actually related to that. You've accidentally put the pressure on them to keep the conversation going, or even get it started in the first place. Like I said in the last episode, hey, what's up, what are you doing, are horrible conversation starters. It means the other person is now on the hook for getting that conversation started, and there's no easy topic to get the ball rolling. So as a result, you end up with a really dry, awkward conversation. A couple of not much, I'm at work, and the conversation ends up dying before it ever even had a chance to get off the ground, and you're both feeling more and more awkward as the conversation sputters out and dies. And let me tell you, that is pretty much the anti-sex equation. Awkward, halting conversations are the opposite of attraction. When you're texting someone, you need to have a reason to be talking to them and a topic ready to go that can get that conversation started. Now, this reason could be almost anything. You want to get to know her better, especially if you two have a date planned. You're bored at work, you're trying to distract yourself. You've read something really interesting that's related to something that she likes, and you wanted to just get her thoughts on it. In fact, never underestimate the power of wanting to know what a woman thinks about something, especially on a topic that she is passionate about or experienced in. The number of times a guy wants to hear what she thinks about something is shockingly low. And this will be doubly effective if it's a topic that she loves, but most people don't care about or think is dumb or boring. Someone telling her, no, I really do want to hear what you have to say about this, is not only going to make him stand out from the crowd, but it's going to make her feel amazing, and she is going to associate those good feelings with him. And hey, since this is via text, you can cheat a little and Google up stuff that you want to ask her. And the thing is, you don't even need a cool way to get the conversation started. Sometimes all you really need to say is, hey, I've got this really random question for you. This is a almost shockingly effective way of getting the conversation started, especially if you already have a connection with them. When you use that as your conversation starter, you are giving them a reason why you're messaging them, you're giving them the topic, and you have almost certainly piqued their interest as to just what the hell this question's gonna be. Let's be real, if someone said that to you, you're gonna be waiting to find out what it is they're about to ask you. Will it be Dark Souls lore? Will it be your opinion on cheese? Guess we'll find out together. Just make sure the question is relevant to them. Something that's related either to their interests or something they're very good at. Give, hey, I've got a random question a try, especially if you're trying to revive a connection that's been quiet for a day or two. I have never known someone who hasn't responded to that. Reason number 4 why she's not texting you back is a little more challenging. The issue is that it's just not fun talking to you. Straight talk. If she doesn't enjoy talking to you, she's gonna stop replying. This doesn't mean that you need to constantly be making her laugh, though honestly, being funny certainly doesn't hurt. But talking to you should be bringing out positive emotions. It could be that you're just really interesting to talk to, that you're a good listener, or just that you know how to keep her engaged, but regardless of what it is, she has to want to talk to you. On the other hand, if things are getting too depressing or too negative, she's going to want to talk less because talking with you is killing her mood. If you give her no feedback, she's going to feel like maybe she's boring you. And if you dominate the conversation, talking too much, making it all about yourself, or only talking about the things that you're interested in and want to talk about, never about the things that she's interested in, then she's going to get fed up and you're going to get left on red more and more often. Now, this doesn't mean that you only talk about the things that she's into, but you do want to keep a good balance going. In an ideal world, you'd both love so many of the same things that it would feel like you could never run out of stuff to talk about. But practically speaking, you can't bank on that, so try to balance out things between your interests and her interests. A more common and insidious problem is that she's just getting nothing back from you. She's talking to you, and the way that you're responding is, well, you're not giving her any sort of feedback about how you feel. If talking to you feels like she's talking to a Vulcan, then she's just going to be less interested because it's going to feel like she is pouring all this emotion and effort into a black hole and getting nothing back. So you want to respond to what she says and find ways to relate to it. Use emotionally descriptive language. What? That's crazy. That's amazing. Wow, that's hilarious. Man, I would be furious if that happened to me. Find ways that you can relate to it. Oh, man, that's awesome. Check this out. I had a similar experience. Or, oh, that's so cool. I would love to do whatever it is you just said. Being more emotionally expressive in text makes it easier to connect with people, which incidentally is why you don't want to be afraid of using emojis when you're texting. And that means more than just eggplant, sweat drops, tacos, and peaches. In fact, emojis can be a great way of being more engaging in general. 3 horrified faces in a row, for example, makes for a great response to, say, a story she's telling about something embarrassing or awkward that just happened at work. It conveys an emotional response, but in a fun and playful manner that encourages her to reply to it. You may feel a little weird using emoji. It may seem like it's the opposite of your cool, above-it-all vibe that you're trying to give off, but did you know that people who use more emojis go on more first dates and have more sex? There is actual science behind this. Men who use more emojis in text tend to be more communicative and express themselves more clearly and are better at building connections with others, all of which are positively correlated with more social and sexual success. Plus, bringing up that study makes a great topic of conversation. I mean, come on, most of you went to go check that out as soon as I said it. You think women aren't going to have the same response? They're not going to want to talk about it? You think that bringing that up isn't going to lead to some emoji-based flirting? That's right. You're welcome. Back on topic. Reason number 5 why women won't text you back is simple, and unfortunately, a lot of guys do this. You punished them for responding. How often has someone offered an opinion about something and you said, that thing is awful, this thing is better? Be honest with me, folks, because I see people do this on Twitter with strangers. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're texting with someone, you're really getting on, you're talking about favorite bands, and they mention they really like, I don't know, Doja Cat. Is this really a thing? Seriously, I just grabbed a random name off a top 40 playlist on Spotify. Anyway, she says this, and you immediately fire back with, I can't stand her. Aquino is so much better. Congratulations. You just told someone that you're trying to date that their taste in music sucks. That is not going to endear you to them or encourage them to ever want to text you back. Quite the opposite. It's actually going to set your chances of seeing them naked so low that I'm pretty sure science doesn't have the numbers to express it. Even if you are convinced that you are some rarefied tastemaker, telling somebody that the thing they love and enjoy is awful is just insulting them on a deep and personal level. You're basically punishing them for replying to you and creating conflict where none none was needed. Now, this does not mean that you need to agree with everything she says. In fact, that's actually a mistake, something I've covered before in a previous episode. But you can disagree with them in ways that don't insult them or set up a confrontational frame. So if, for example, I am talking about food with someone and she talks about how much she loves cilantro, I'm not gonna go on a rant about how cilantro is the devil's knob cheese. But it is. Instead, I'll say, you know, I can't eat cilantro. I've got that genetic thing, it makes it taste like soap, and I really wish I could, because all my friends love going for Vietnamese and it all smells great, and here I am with my spring rolls, a plate of rice, and a cup of green tea. Framing it like that, bringing up the genetic component, which is a real thing, doesn't tell her that she's wrong for liking it, and it doesn't insult her taste in food. It makes it clear, I'm not judging her for liking cilantro. I totally am. It's just that, hey, this is a difference between us that's utterly value neutral. And it opens a new conversational loop, gives us a bunch of new things to talk about, and gives her more reasons for her to text me back. So, if you're having problems with your text conversations drying up, keep an eye out for these issues in your messages. Being in the habit of making sure that you're giving her reasons to want to reply to you and that you're not shutting down the conversation by accident will help you build stronger connections and make you the guy that she can't wait to talk to. Thanks for checking out my video. So, you've heard from me, now I want to hear from you. What is a way that you've revived a text conversation that went dead? Share your tip in the comments below. And don't forget, I'm answering your dating questions in my new Ask Dr. NerdLove series of videos. So, if you've got a short dating question you'd like to have answered on here, hit me up and share that in the comments as well. Maybe the question I'll be answering next week will be yours. Meanwhile, if you want to get deeper into the art of texting and take your text game to the next level, then you need to check out my newest book, I Got Her Number, Now What? This is your guide to getting her number, how to make sure that she'll text you back, what to say, when to say it, and how to turn those numbers into dates. Links to buy it are in the show notes, so go check it out. And if you do check it out, or any of my other books for that matter, be sure to rate and review it on Amazon and Goodreads. That is a huge, huge help to me. Now, if you're digging the series, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up, share it with your friends, like, share, subscribe, yada yada yakety schmackety. But if you are really enjoying these videos, and I mean you are really enjoying them, if you're finding that they're really helping you and you want to support the channel and, in the process, help fund some amazing new projects, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/drnerdlove. Even $1 is a huge help because it covers hosting, it covers equipment, and like I'm always saying, I can't do this without the help of my patrons, so thank you all so very much. Meanwhile, follow me on Twitter at Dr. NerdLove, join the Facebook discussion group NerdLove Academy at facebook.com/groups/Dr. NerdLove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I will see you here next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Later.